Okay, my dear Gemini, welcome to your May reading. I hope you made it through April. There was a lot of learnings, very deep. There was a lot going on in April. So I guess we're looking at the integration of that, but there'll be a particular flavor for you. And I want to open that up and gift that to you. Let's look at what's in the tarot for you first. We're going to add an extra card on this month. So if you have been watching along every month, I definitely want to make it interesting for you and make sure that there's always a depth that resonates. And as always, we'll use the Stalk Your Shadow deck for the shadow card, just to make sure we're aware of things that might come up. Now, the interesting part about shadow work is it prepares us for the discomfort and the emergence of something difficult with the continued safety of, if we're just used to it and we keep moving through it, it's not this hugely threatening thing that we need to avoid. So it's really just a heads up on what might come through that you're likely to push away. Now, if we push away, we know we bury and we leave it there, and that's okay to a certain extent. But if we've created an art form around avoiding and burying and avoiding and burying, we'll be subconsciously asking the body to hold that for us for later, for later, for later. And we won't move through and change and heal to a greater level of awareness. So the prize is a greater level of awareness so that you can get out of your patterns and stop making the same mistakes over and over again with the same people in your life. For the process of getting a better health structure or better body awareness, so asking your body to hold less so that we're not setting ourselves up for disease processes. And also to have this feeling around that we are doing the work. Now, some people like that, some people don't. That's fine. I get plenty of comments online that just says, relax, stop worrying, all those things. And I get that. But for those of us that do want that experience of moving through and forward and releasing ourselves from patterns, patterns are being hurt by people over and over again in the same way. Patterns are curses in some way that are passed down from our ancestry where it just looks like a lot of bad luck. I personally don't like that feeling that I'm stuck in something that is buried in my unconscious because I won't allow it to come forward. And what we need to do to allow it to come forward is just open the door and say, okay, I get that this is painful to see and acknowledge. But if I acknowledge it, bring it to the surface, love it, and accept it, I can move through and create healing for myself, which opens doors to many other parameters. It means that we can discover things we've never discovered before. We can reach new creative heights. We could have different relationships that are healthier and more supportive. We could break beyond our inherited patterns and have the life that we want. That's what we do it for. We just want to be free to experience life the way that we need to experience it. And I've found through many years of working with people that shadow work is the key. Those that have the boldness and the braveness to do it are the ones that reap the rewards over and over again. They're the ones that can get through the therapy process. They're the ones that keep on moving through and unburdening themselves. It's beautiful to watch. We have some strong cards here, Gemini. This is going to be an excellent month for you. Lots of themes actually here. So the card that's going to keep us anchored to what is this all for is the King of Swords. King of Swords is a very intellectual king. He's very wordy, he's big on conversation, and he rules with his mind, with his ideas, his belief systems. I would expect there's a part of you, and hopefully you are exploring it. There's a part of you that thinks differently than anybody else. There's a part of you that has the capacity to go into depth with your mind. It could be viewing things in a way that nobody else does. It could be changing your belief systems when they don't serve you. It could be the ability to have those conversations with many different types of people, no matter where the topic flows. If you meet a true conversationalist, they will never shy away from any conversation, whether it's triggering, uncomfortable, difficult, dark, or they know nothing about it. A true conversationalist will love to open those doors with people. And a true conversationalist will also get frustrated with the people around them that never want to open those doors. It can be frustrating when you've got things to say and explore and you want to hear about other people's belief systems and you want to go into the mind's constructs. Thank you, Crow. And what Crow brings in as well, which is a really interesting part of this card, is finding balance between the way that you lead with your thoughts and the way that you lead with your speech and the way that you have conversation, and also how you make yourself small to have conversations like other people. We need to balance that out. How much of your genius are you allowing out through everything that you do? And how much are you leading your life with that capacity? And how much are you staying small for other people and only having conversations about what they're ready to have conversations about? That's an interesting take. Thank you. So we're trying to master the King of Swords energy. We want that I'm sitting on my own throne and I have the freedom to think in the way that I need to think. And the way that I am viewing my life and having conversations about my life is creating my reality. And in that reality, the skies are blue and everything seems clear, right? We want that King of Swords clarity. How we're going to get there? There's also a part of us that is very strong and very capable, that is motivated by our emotions, by our sensitivities and our intuition. Now, this sense of focus on those watery parts of ourselves is not a weakness. It's actually a strength. So the idea is we can be held by this overriding capacity to be clear in our mind about where we're going. And we also choose, when the tide asks us to make decisions through an emotional plane, which means you can trust your emotions here. There is no part of your intelligence that needs to be weakened by your emotions. I think this is a massive misconception. You can still stay intelligent, rational, deep in thought, grounded in it, in your belief systems and aware of them, and still moved by your emotion, because your emotion has intellectual information for you. I think there's this old idea that you're either emotional or you're smart, and the two don't come together, when in fact the smartest people I know, the most intellectual people I know, never negate emotion. They actually use it as a interesting information base or curious data that comes through. So you might be discussing your belief systems and how they play out for you and how they provide that action base. And when an emotion comes in, you can remain very curious and still in your sovereignty that says, that's interesting. That belief system pulls this emotion into my body. How can I now collaborate with that idea and still stay in ownership? So we're not swayed. It's not, I see a lot of people overriding their emotions with their mind. I need to know what it's about, where it came from, and what I'm experiencing. But emotions are there to move us, to give us more data from a different place, and it is a water-based place. Yep. Knowing that, through the month of May, there'll be an exploration around the friction, the projections, and the misalignments in your speech, in the way that you think. So this card shows up when you're not moving through the friction, the sabotage, the difficult parts, and your mind is creating a lot of pressure. Now, this card says you're about to project that onto someone else to relieve the pressure. But be very mindful of your words this month, Gemini. We are coming from a place where we want to use our brain to the best of its capacity. The King of Swords doesn't go around arguing and berating and projecting on everyone. He doesn't have time for the drama. But there's a sense and a friction in you that that drama is used to. So this card tells me, and there's a reason why we need to understand this, because the next card is a really good one. If we can understand that capacity to project out, to blame everybody else, to speak negatively about someone else, it's basically saying it's all your fault. We relinquish the part of our sovereign selves that is trying to find that King of Swords. So remember, if you are pulled into a regal position or into a sovereign position or a position of power, which might be something that you're heading towards, whether it's opening your own business or being more respected or being promoted, whatever that is, that allows that King of Swords energy to fully come through, right? I'm progressing. I'm on in a higher state of awareness here. I have to align my behaviors. There's a part of you that wants to go back down into the gallows and just make it everybody else's fault and blame them and say, you fucked up, it's your fault, that's why I'm feeling this way. But with two kings in this reading, we are being asked. In a position of power and responsibility, you have to be very careful about what you're putting out. You have to be very careful about how you're treating people. Because when you're responsible for a lot of people, and maybe there's a position of power coming through for some of you, how we use and acknowledge that power and how we embody integrity is very important for the way that the system runs. So the king's actions and behaviors send a message down to all of his followers that says, this is how we're going to run this whole kingdom. I'm someone you can look up to know how to act appropriately in times of stress. But in times of stress, we sometimes relate and fall back on what I would say is an old mechanism. And we need to find outlets for the mental pressure of new responsibility. We do. So similar to a father in a household that is trying to be a good example to his kids. He knows that if he gets angry at them and yells at them every time they do something that kids do, he is going to create an atmosphere where that is normal and that is mimicked. So we're being asked to check ourselves here. We're asking to check our behaviors. Everything we put out comes back. Law of attraction, right? So do we want to be the King of Swords and honor the King of Cups as well? Or do we want to go down and fight and blame on an ego level? Five of Swords is very much you're about to project out everything that your ego is uncomfortable about. And do you want to put that out in the world? Because it invites other people to do that to you. If we can master this, or just be mindful of it. I don't want you to think about mastery right now, but King of Swords is sitting there with a very strong energy saying, this month, you'll be able to master this. But at least be aware of it. And when you make a mistake, just understand, wait, that didn't feel the way. No, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to yell at him that way. I didn't want to yell at her that way. I actually wanted to be able to have it together more. So if I had a chance to do it again, how could I notice my stress and relieve pressure in a healthy way? Because if we can master it, Ace of Cups is here to say this is a brand new beginning in how you're going to experience love, in how you're going to trust your emotions, because they're always intelligently correct. They're not lying to you. Your emotions never lie to you. Your mind can play tricks. People will express to you whatever is truth for them in the moment, and then the next moment it changes. But your emotions are giving you a very intelligent feed from your body that's saying, this feels good, this doesn't, this is unfair, betrayal is here, I feel ashamed. It's telling you all of this information that we usually just say, oh, no, that's not appropriate, or I can't get angry right now. But if there's anger and you're used to projecting it out, understand why the anger is there. King of Cups would say, why are my subjects or followers angry right now? What have I done? Or what are they experiencing that would link them to something that feels unfair? What is the injustice or the sense of injustice that I can learn from, right? And does that anger serve me? And if it does, what action is it trying to create? This is truly being in touch with your emotions, not trying to bury them in the body, not trying to make a whole story about your ego up about them, and just actually having them there as pure, intuitive, emotional data that is telling you in the moment what's going on. This is the place that your kids come from, right? They are the Ace of Cups. They are full of experience and love and emotion, and they're not trying to restrict it or make it sound smart. They're actually just here all the time. Every day is a new beginning. Every day they look for more love and more connection and more fun and more vibrance. And as adults, we've learned to put that in a package and make that one not okay and judge that one. And that one means this and that person is that. Come back to a pure place, because King of Swords and King of Cups would have to have a level of mastery around emotions. And in fact, mastery around emotions is not emotional repression. Destroy and uncreate that, because that's what society has said to us. Oh, if you're emotional, you're weak. No. I actually think the ones in touch with their emotions that can use them to their capacity and understand them and explore them and accept them are the ones that will rise up into, I guess, our version of what a king would be, which is a leader in their lives with a healthy, divine, masculine influence. So a lot of yang energy, the ability to achieve and create and provide for others, to be the safety net and the structure and the support system for other people to thrive, to make sure that our lives have integrity and a sharp sense of this is how I need it to be to go out there and create more. So it's the ability to have our own lives catered for before we go out and serve other people. It's the ability to structure and plan and do what we need to do from a disciplined sense to get the job done and to make those tough calls when we need to. And that's on ourselves as well. So can I provide for myself the structure and the support that I need to allow my divine feminine to flourish, but also for others to flourish around me so that I don't sit in imbalance? Ace of Cups is worth the reward. It is a brand new beginning in your emotional life, your intuitive life. And that's where the King of Cups will rise from. Be wary of the egoic drama, the ability to project out, to complain, to bitch and moan about how everyone's hurt us, how everyone's not doing well enough, how everybody else is doing this to us and to me, and come to the King of Swords, which is, okay, I see the drama that's happening. I can observe that in myself and in other people. How do I want to take action from a place of sovereignty in my own life, from an intellectual place of truly providing what I need, so that my emotions can always signal to me when I'm in the wrong situation or whether there's deep healing happening? Wow. Okay. It's going to be big, but at least we have the awareness. Two Kings is pretty big energy. So be mindful of how it comes through. Let's just allow the shadow to be in our awareness too. Number 42 is the mole. Now, I definitely wanted to put this animal in this deck because they have an incredible resilience, right? And a very unique way of building burrows and keeping themselves safe. And obviously, they're a smaller animal. They would have a lot of predators, but they've found a way to adapt to that pressure and make the most of it. So they're using the deep earth, the safety of the deep earth, in order to find resilience so they can survive. If they were up on the surface all the time, I think they would be very threatened. But it's like the way that you're working, the way that you're doing things is either creating resilience or exposing yourself to too much threat. And it links to this Five of Swords. How can we take the conditions of our life, knowing that if we're not super duper happy with them, we can get to a different place with hard work and consistency and discipline. But right now, are you truly taking the conditions of your life and using them for deep sense of resilience? Which means, am I learning about my experiences? Am I making the best of them? Am I doing the inner work to understand why it feels hard right now? So that when I'm in a different situation, I am the King of Swords, which means I am in charge of my life. I am the business owner. I am the father, the overseer, the manager, whatever it is. Have I developed those skills, or did I spend my time complaining and repressing my emotions while I was there? Because the mole's just getting on with it, right? It's making the best of a situation. It's not complaining about how many predators it has at all times. It's saying, well, I was born a mole. So it's funny. I'm going to make the best of the situation and find a way to not be so exposed so I can go about my day, right? Find a way to develop boundaries. King of Swords would have boundaries. King of Swords isn't going to be down there in the gallows with all the people complaining about all the things that they can't help. He's going to be up on his throne with space to think and dwell and understand what the higher structures are for everybody else. King of Swords can look further into the future than most, understand the safety of many different people. It's a huge draw on divine masculine, but see if you can look into that higher view and understand the necessary steps of getting you out of the underground, but making the most of it while you're there. I hope that helps, Gemini. I love you so much. I'll see you next month.